Natasha, and thank you so much for joining me today. Well, as usual, we have a really fun, different style of card today. So we are going to be making some pocket cards, and just wait to see how easy and cute these turn out. So this is a regular 8.5 by 11 sheet of cardstock, and I have cut this in half, and this is how I would usually cut them up to make them into card fronts, just, regular old. But instead, with the other half here, I'm actually going to cut this at the halfway point. So, this way here would be 4 1/4 across, but I am actually going to score that, and then down the middle, I'm going to cut at 2 3/4 inches. And then this way, this is going to create a little note card that tucks into our pockets. So this is just a really cute little card that you can create that you don't have to write a whole lot, although, we can still fit plenty in these ones, but these are really, really fun. So let's create a few. So I'm just going to go over this with my bone folder to make that nice and neat, the edges all lovely. You can see how it's going to fit there onto our pocket card. I am going to be using this one for my first one. This is the Simple Stories Simple Vintage Spring Garden paper pad, 6x8. And these ones here, I find this is a good time to use up those sheets. Like I wouldn't necessarily have the big bloom where you are planted because it's too big for even a card front, but I will use up elements of that so that I can put these on my little cards. So let's take a couple of these out. And honestly, I changed my mind all the way through these. I also like this one as well that's from the same pack. So let's see how we go. I've got a few elements that I want to put together, this gorgeous little gingham pink sort of pattern here. I'm going to cut this one down to be 4 by 5 1/4, so just a little bit smaller than my card front size usually. And now the card front, just to confuse you, is actually going to be sort of the card base, so to speak, in this. That's what we're going to base our little pocket on. So now I'm just going to cut out a little piece that is going to be the pocket out of that same pink. And then I also cut out a piece that is going to be the front of our little note card. Then I'm also going to do some fancy corners on some of these, and that is not necessary at all, but I find this is a pretty simple design, so I think this is all the little things just make it, that little bit nicer. So I'm going to do this on all of those 4 corners, and then I just did it on the one corner of the pocket piece because that one will obviously match up with the piece behind it. So I'm going to glue this down. So this here is like, the white piece is just a card front. It's not a card at this point. It's just one singular piece of 110-pound cardstock. Then I glue down the pattern paper onto it. And now I just want the pocket to stand out a little bit more. So I like putting it down on another white piece of cardstock. And again, that gives it that matching border, but you can skip this step, absolutely. I will tell you now, I don't measure the size of the pocket. It usually depends on what scrap I have going or what I'm going to do. I don't measure it. It doesn't matter. As long as your little card tucks into it, go for gold. There are never any rules when it comes to creating, so if you even wanted a pocket that went straight across the bottom instead of a corner, then absolutely gorgeous, go for it. So I have my little pocket here. I'm going to put this to the side and work on the card for this. Again, I have my little piece here. Now, this is where I change my mind halfway. So I do all of the corners, and then I have this piece here, and I decide that actually just looking at it, it sinks into the background a little too much. So I keep going forward with it. I put the glue on the back, and then I change my mind. I changed my mind, and I have more of that scrap from that bloom where you are planted, and so I'm not going to use that side of it because I don't need that little sentiment, and so I'm actually going to just cut out a piece of cardstock that is going to fit entirely on my little card that I'm actually going to put in there. So the actual one that is a card base, the tiny little one. I actually could have just used some ink to cover around the edges there where you would end up seeing. But I wasn't wanting to, get out inks and try and colour match them. And I had the cardstock right there, and I knew I wasn't going to use that bloom sentiment. And so I figured I may as well use the extra piece of cardstock. It's just fine. So this one here is going to exactly fit on my little card base. And that is I'm going to use the yellow side of that one. And then the piece that I was going to put on before to become the layering piece, where you'll be able to see those beautiful edges. So it will have the yellow in the background, and because because my front piece has, a mainly lighter colour. So I think this worked out well. I changed my mind halfway through and that glue has pretty much dried, but that's okay. We can add more. You can always add more glue. And I'm glad that I stopped there before I actually put it down. So once I put this little piece over top, I like the look of that much better, and I'm happy that I made that little change of plan halfway through. So for this one, I'm actually going to pull out some butterflies. I think that would fit nicely up in that corner there. This is the layered butterflies from scrapbook.com, and there are 2 that layer up nicely. I'm going to take the bigger one, and then I'm also going to take the layer, but you can help me decide in a second. I think I end up not using the layer. I have, again, this pink scrap from the other corner, and I thought I may as well cut the butterfly out of that. Everything is going to be coordinating. I'm using the same paper pad for everything. This butterfly cuts out really nicely, and everything just popped out of it super easy. And then I also cut out the layering piece, the solid piece, in some vellum. I wasn't sure if I wanted to dull down the pink, so maybe I should put the vellum on top of the butterfly instead of underneath. So that's kind of how that would look, or that would be underneath. But actually I decided in the end that just the butterfly by itself was actually enough. I didn't need the other layer as well. So any little embellishment that you can pop up there would be great. And then for super simple sentiments, I have this little Violet Studio book of stickers here. There are 12 sheets in here, and I think this was super cheap. I did this as part of a video using cheaper products, and I think this was maybe like $2 US or something. It was really cheap. Plus scrapbook.com often has a discount, and so it was really affordable. And I think today I was definitely in a sort of patterned paper mood, because I didn't feel like stamping and pulling out different sentiments and stamps and things that I thought could work on there. So this actually was perfect to pop in there. There are so many different sentiments in that little book. And as I said, it's a very good price point. So nice and easy for this one. And then you can see easy, it sort of tucks into my little pocket, and you can still see the happy birthday. You could add some little, diamantes or some little gems or some water droplets or Nuvo drops or something all around that, and it would also look beautiful if you wanted to, but you can just leave it as is and it still looks fabulous. So there is one ready to go. I'm going to whip through a couple more for you just so that you can see some options. Now, as a little fun card, this is the Tag Trio Craft Dies. This actually came as a freebie with one of my scrapbook.com orders. They have a lot of good freebies. Often you can put 2 or 3 in your cart and you can get all of them. None of this limited to 1, which is something else I love. So all I need there is the very top of that little tag die to be poking over the top of my card. So this is exactly the little card base that I made before, but you can see there's a tiny wee bit hanging over the edge at the top. And that is going to mean that when I run it through my die cutting machine, and I'll run it through with the card closed, then I actually get this super cute little tag shaped card, and it will still be joint at the top, and there is just so little missing at the top that you could keep it as is and you would barely be able to notice it at all, that there's a tiny little bit missing out the top. But there you go, pretty cute. But what I actually did is I went ahead and I used the same tag die, exactly the same tag die, and I die cut out this piece of paper from the same paper pad that we were using before, and I quite like both sides of this. Honestly, I was changing my mind halfway through because originally I thought I would have this side showing, but that's okay. This paper pad is a gorgeous one, and it's one of those ones I feel I could hoard. Honestly, I have to fight that all the time to use the products that I purchase because they are all gorgeous, they are all pretty, but I remind myself that there will be more pretty ones and there will be more gorgeous products. So I'm going to use, this is another one of the sticker books that I used, and these typewriter letters, I love these, and they just make a really quick, easy sentiment. I love that I can adjust these to, I can make up my own sentiment. So if I've got a little space, I might need a smaller, shorter sentiment. If you've got a longer one, then you can change it up to fit your space. I'm going to use my ruler and just pop these little stickers on the edge of my ruler, because these little things are fairly sticky. So once I pop them down, they're not going to come up easily. And so I want to make sure that I have the spacing right. So if I pop these on the very edge of my ruler, get my spacing pretty good. And now I'm actually touching these. They are actually ever so slightly overlapping, and I still think they look perfectly fine. So I was really happy with this. Then once I'm ready to get this in place, I just tilt my little ruler and press down on it and just peel them away gently and carefully. And then I have everything lined up nice and straight, and it's where I want it to go. And of course, I'm just going to spell out thank you, and then this is nice and easy because I can just follow the 3 above it, so I can get that really easily lined up, and that's pretty cute. This one here, now I had some burlap ribbon, and I was like, oh, that'll be really cute, I'll pop it through the top of the tag. And so I just pull apart the ribbon so that I can get little strings, and then I was like, no, I can't do that, that will close the little card. So change of plan, I'm actually going to just make a little bow, a cute little bow out of 3 or 4 of these little pieces here, and then I will pop that up the top just underneath the little hole. So it still has that cute tag look, and it still has that extra little bit of ribbon, that burlap ribbon that looks really, adds that little touch to it, adds that little extra that goes on the front. So I will put my little card together. This is just the other side of that paper, so all I used here was 1 6x8 sheet of paper, and that's what I got. I'm going to cover my little card base, I guess you call it here, and it's sort of the card front piece. Then I did my little pocket corner, and of course I have that extra little piece of white cardstock that it is layered onto. Rounding the corners with the fancy little shape, and we are away laughing. We've got card number 2. All I need to do is actually glue on that bow. I'm going to use some art glitter glue that's going to dry really fast. Put a good daub on there because it's going to dry nice and clear, and then pop that underneath. And this little card still opens up, and I like the fact that even when it's tucked into the little pocket, you are still able to see the little thank you. So you're still able to see, what kind of card it is. And so that is number 2. I want to quickly show you another one as well, just to give you some more ideas, because as I said, I ran with this. I had a whole lot of fun of putting these together today. And so the next one that I'm going to do, I used a different colored paper pad. It's actually the Dear Love from P13, and this is just one of my favorites, and I have so few scraps left from this paper pad, so I am really eking it out and just trying to use it up as well. So I put a little bit of lace behind that one and a little wooden butterfly, but yeah, 3 really easy, gorgeous pocket cards, and these were fun. So thank you so much for joining me. Let me know in the comment section down below if you've made these before, but other than that, I'll see you in the next